Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morris and director of Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence. Today I want to talk a little bit about mental health. Now, we all have mental health, right? Obviously, we all have brains, we all have perception on things, we all have thoughts and analysis on the events that happen around us, and we internalise that in our own ways, right? And I think when the mental health becomes an issue is when that starts to get on top of you, right? So, for instance, I've generally been quite a unhappy person, right? But it's never manifested itself in anything like dangerous, you know. There's some people that they get really upset and really miserable and really depressed or whatever, and they turn to the bottle or they turn to various vices, and some people go really far and they do stuff like cutting themselves and things like that. I've never really done any of that, right? Just because I've never had it get that low, right? But other people have. And it makes you wonder, are your own issues legitimate, right? Because I'm not doing that. So why am I still feeling sad? I'm clearly not that sad if I'm not doing that. So what's going on? There's a bit of a cognitive dissonance there, right? If your problems aren't that big, right, why do you feel sad about them, right? So it's the same way you're eating a meal and you're like, oh, I don't really like this meal, but I better finish it because, there's starving kids in Africa. It's that kind of thing. And in your mind, that that's not really logical, because what, like when you were a kid and you'd say, I don't like this food, and your parents would go, oh, if you don't eat it, don't eat it, then there's starving kids in Africa. And you would go, why don't you just mail it to Africa then, right? It's like you can't just mail your fried eggs to Africa because they're going to go rotten by the time they get there. And then say they did get there, right, and they were still fresh, and the starving little Somali kid has to eat mailed eggs for the rest of his fucking life. It's not exactly a happier version, a happier equivalent, right? And you can see all these miseries in the world, right? And if they start to bleed in, they can just pile on top. And there's so many issues out there that can pile on top of your own mental health and expound the issues that you're currently facing and just make them so much worse, right? And I don't really know how to pass all of that. And this video is kind of just me trying to figure out how to, because look, I'm not the happiest person in the universe, right? I'm not like someone that's like going around for happy smile on all the time. And I like the idea of that. I do like the idea of being a happier individual, and I want to get to that stage, right? I want to look around the world and see like less things that kind of cause a bit of an existential sort of crisis within. I want to see less suffering. I want to expose myself to less misery, right? And I've talked about this in videos to do with politics. A lot of my videos on politics are generally about trying to shut politics out for the sake of making yourself happier. Right? And I feel like it's very important to do that. And the reason I think it's important to do that is because you've got to look out for yourself. You matter, right? To you, right? You are your own best friend. You are in your own corner in the boxing ring going, come on, man, you can do it. You can knock him out, right? And you get into that boxing ring time and time again and you try. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Sometimes you fall flat on your face and you get knocked out and you have to get yourself back up and you have to fight again. And sometimes you keep getting knocked down and you keep getting back up and you just think, there's just a cyclicalness to this. I just keep getting knocked down and I'm getting back up and I'm getting knocked down again. I'm getting back up. Am I weak? Why am I so weak? Why am I so shit? Why am I so useless, Like for instance, I've made a couple mistakes at work yesterday, right? That were just really dumb mistakes. I know that I didn't need to make those mistakes. I know how to not make those mistakes and I made them anyway. So I'm clearly shit and useless. I'm clearly fucking awful because I made those mistakes. How could I have done that? How could that have occurred under my watch? I'm meant to be the one here that's meant to know how to do stuff, and yet I've failed, right? So how do you pass all that? You can't beat yourself up over every little issue that happens, right? Especially because you know all of your worst sides of yourself. You know every mistake you've ever made. You know every problem that you've caused. You know every flaw in you, right? Better than anyone, right? And it's very easy to get yourself down and to go, yeah, you did that. Yeah, you're pretty shit, aren't you? And in your mind, you might think of it as being self-aware. You might think of it as you kind of going through, trying to take ownership and accountability for things that you have made mistakes on. But in reality, sometimes, and a lot of the time, it's an issue that isn't a real issue, right? It's something that's like a mild inconvenience, like, you put a plate in the wrong sort of bit of the cupboard, and now someone's going to have to take it out, right? But why did I do that? I know the plate doesn't go there, and I put it in there. Well, I put it in there. Why did I put it in there? I put it in there because I was in a rush, because I needed to get out of the house because I was late for work. But I put the plate in there for that exact reason, because I was late for work, and I was just like, just chuck it in there, and I need to get out, right? So at the end of the day, no one cares, right? Worst that happens is someone puts the plate back in the original spot, and they kind of grumble, like, oh, who left this fucking plate here, right? It's not the end of the world, right? As long as you don't actively try to cause harm to people, you're okay, all right? Things are fine. Don't worry so much about what hardships you're causing others, because if you're already so worried about it that you're watching a video like this and you're trying to rectify these issues within yourself, you're on the right track anyway, okay? You're doing fine, you're all right, you're okay. You don't have to worry so much about these little things, because they're not big issues, they're whatever, they're nothing, right? And they take up a lot of space in your brain. You know when you're in bed and you're looking up at the ceiling, you're staring at the ceiling, and you're remembering all the sort of dumb shit that you've done, or all the times you've embarrassed yourself, or whatever, right? Most of those things are something that has become irrelevant. It's just gone to the swaths of time. It's just gone down the memory hole, right? So don't worry about it. If it comes up, right, it's a quick laugh and then you move on, right? In your own head though, it can sort of feel, for instance, what I do, I end up coming up with little scenarios, and then my brain reacts on those scenarios as if they actually happened, and then reacts to that, and then that kind of keeps going until I remind myself that none of this actually is happening, so don't need to worry about it, and then I throw the entire thought process out, right? And then sometimes that thrown out process, I'm walking past the bin of my thrown out processes, and I'm looking in and sort of seeing an old thought process. I'm like, why did I throw that out? It's quite good. Oh wait, no, it's not. Chuck it back down, right? What you need a better bin. You need a bin with a lid, or one of those pedal bins, something like that. Just to stop yourself from reliving things that don't matter, to stop yourself from thinking things that are holding you back, to stop yourself from doubting yourself, and to allow yourself to thrive and to flourish and to accept and love yourself, and all that sort of lame motivational bullshit, right? It's very easy to hate yourself and get yourself down because you know yourself better than anyone, and you want yourself to be successful. You want to be a good person. You want to be a successful person. You want to be a provider for the people that you care about. You want to be there for the people that you care about, and you've got these issues, and you feel like you're failing, but you're doing a lot better than you think you are. You're way better than you give yourself credit for, right? Because other people don't see all of this stuff in your head, right? It's all make-believe that you have come up with, and it's okay to just shut it out a little bit, right? It doesn't matter, right? And any time that you get yourself worrying down an existential kind of rabbit hole, it doesn't need to happen. Are you going to solve nihilism? Are you going to solve the moral quandaries of the universe? Are you going to solve the rise in fascism in this country and most countries? No, you're not going to. You're not going to be able to solve anything. You're not going to be able to collectivize either, because, right, we live in such a splintered off world from one another that you just can't do it. But what you can do is that you can accept your position, you can understand yourself, love yourself, and try and accept who you are for what you are, right? And to lead yourself down whatever path you need to get yourself to a place where you can be happy and contented with your current position, right? And it's not going to be easy. It's going to be quite difficult, obviously. It's going to be very hard. But you will eventually get there if you believe in yourself.
Do you mind if I sit there to smoke?
Yeah, of course. Go for it. Just making a video. And yeah, so it's pretty much just a case of trying to figure out how you can be as easygoing on yourself as possible, because it's very easy to not do that. It's very easy to be a bit of a twat to yourself, because let's face it, we've all made mistakes. We've all done dumb shit. We've all caused harm inadvertently, And we all feel bad about various things that we've done in our own past, right? And it's a case of just trying to grow from who you were into who you want to be. You are the path, you are the bridge between your past and your present, and your future, sorry. You are the ultimate sort of thing that you can be, right? You just need to be a bit more accepting of yourself. And the thing is though, is that it's not very fun to accept and love yourself, right? The reason why, you know, you go on any movie review channel, for instance, right, and you go on most viewed and you search by most viewed, you'll see it's mostly negative reviews that go to the top. Why is that? Well, because being negative is just more fun than being positive. It's the same way, you know, you're in school and they would say, oh, well, it takes 40 muscles to frown, but it only takes 20 muscles to smile, so why don't you just smile? Well, good question. Why aren't we all just smiling all the time? It's almost like the muscles that we have, just using more muscles doesn't necessarily mean you're using more power, because I guess not every muscle takes the same amount of energy to use, right? Doing that is a little bit different than doing that, right? But they're both muscles being used. Maybe I was using more muscles doing that, but they're smaller muscles compared to this. But this is a lot more strenuous, right? And I still do it. It's not like it's a problem or anything, but it's way harder than just doing that, right? And that's kind of, I don't know. I don't have any real solutions here. I don't have any kind of ultimate point that I'm trying to make or any kind of epiphany that I want to present to you. I just want to let you know that it's fine to be how you are, right? And to love yourself. And if you aren't feeling particularly great at the moment, it's not going to be like this forever. You're going to come out of it and you're going to end up on a decent sort of plane. And that plane won't last forever either. But at the end of the day, I have a saying that I quite like, which is everything will be all right in the end. And if it's not all right, it's not the end, right? I stole that from The Exorcist. So yeah, that's going to be the video. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you got something out of it. I do this time. I know I say that in every video, but this one I really mean it. That I hope you got something out of whatever this is. Because I know this was a bit of a ramble, quite a miserable, mental healthy sort of ramble. I want to get more into the mental health sort of thing because it's important at the end of the day. We're all miserable fucking bastards inside and in some capacity, right? And it's about trying to keep that essence around, but controlled, because it's useful sometimes, but you don't want it to take over your life. And yeah, that's going to be it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and take care. Bye bye. Yeah.
So do you work for mental health?
Well, I'm just doing little, because I have a YouTube channel.